What's going on, guys? Welcome to Inside the Horseshoe. My name is Matt, and today I want to talk about some of the teams we're going to need to root for this week to increase our chances to make the playoffs. I think they're pretty good so far, but just so we increase them even more, these are the teams you need to root for. We're going to talk about their matchups and all that good stuff. But before I do that, if you're new or if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you would click that subscribe button. Also, click the bell icon. That way you're notified whenever I upload a video or go live. If you like this video, smack the like button. Let me know down below in the comments if you agree with me. And also, if you have a Twitter, make sure you follow me on Twitter at horseshoe_pod. I have a link in the description that will take you to my Twitter. So with that being said, let's get into it right now. We're going to talk about the playoff picture as it stands right now. We'll only talk about the teams that I think have a chance to make the playoffs. And then after that, we'll get into who we need to root for in this week. So starting number one, it's the Tennessee Titans. At number two is the Baltimore Ravens. At number three is the New England Patriots, climbing up after their win against Atlanta and Buffalo's loss to us. At number four is the Kansas City Chiefs. At number five is the Cincinnati Bengals. At number six is the Los Angeles Chargers. At number seven is the Buffalo Bills, dropping pretty far from where they were earlier on in the year. And then, as far as the teams that are outside looking in, at number eight, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. At number nine, it's us, the Colts. At number 10 is the Cleveland Browns. At number 11 is the Las Vegas Raiders. And at number 12 is the Denver Broncos. Those are the only teams I think that have a realistic chance to make the playoffs. So with all that being said, let's talk about the teams we need to root for this weekend. Let's start with the obvious ones first. That way we can get those out of the way. Most obvious, root for the Colts. That goes without saying. If the Colts do win on Sunday, their playoff chances do increase quite a bit. So root for the Colts on Sunday, like I know everybody's going to. Now let's talk about the others. These are both on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to those watching. Let's start with the first game. It's Cowboys and the Raiders. Root for the Cowboys to beat the Raiders. I know the Raiders are currently behind the Colts, but it will increase the gap if the Raiders lose and the Colts win. So root for the Cowboys. And then the other is the Saints. Root for them to beat the Bills. Colts currently have a tiebreaker over the Bills, so the Saints winning would put the Colts over the Bills. So root for those teams. So now let's get into the AFC matchups for this week. First one we're going to talk about is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Root for the Steelers to beat the Bengals. Steelers have a more difficult schedule than Cincinnati. That's obviously a reason why. Cincinnati plays the Chargers, 49ers, Broncos, Ravens, Chiefs, and Browns, while the Steelers play the Ravens twice, the Vikings, the Titans, the Chiefs, and the Browns. So just looking at right there, obviously Chiefs, Browns, those eliminate each other right there. And then when you compare the others, I think playing the Ravens twice is much more difficult than playing the Ravens once, the Chargers, 49ers, and Broncos. I think that outrules itself right there. Plus, the Vikings, I think, are better than the 49ers, and I think the Titans are better than the Chargers. So Steelers, I believe, have a more difficult schedule from here on out than the Bengals do. So the Steelers beating the Bengals would help. Either way, whoever loses, I'm sure is going to fall behind the Colts after this weekend, assuming the Colts win. So root for the Steelers to beat the Bengals. So the next game we're going to talk about today is the Titans and the Patriots. And honestly, this is a pretty difficult game for me to choose who to root for. And the reason why I say that is because whoever loses, it's going to help the Colts one way or another. So with the Titans, they basically have a 3-game lead because they have the tiebreaker over us. If the Titans lose, that would go down to 2 games, assuming we win on Sunday. If the Patriots lose, we would be tied with the same record. And if we go into that Saturday night football game with the same record as each other, whoever wins that game is going to have a 2-game lead due to the tiebreaker over the other. So it's pretty difficult to choose. And I know a lot of Colts fans would say you root for the Patriots because that makes that gap between the Colts and Titans a lot closer than what it would be if the Titans won. And I totally feel you there. I think you got to root for the Titans, though. And the reason why I say that is because I just don't see the Titans losing the division. We would basically have to finish undefeated, and then they would have to lose 3 games, including this week. I don't think that's going to happen. With the Colts, you still got Tampa Bay. You still got the Cardinals. You got the Patriots. And then, you got the Raiders and the Texans and the Jaguars. I don't see a scenario where we finish undefeated with those games. I just don't. I think we're probably going to lose one more, maybe two at the most, but I think one more game we're going to end up losing. Now, if we finish undefeated and the Titans end up losing 3 games, then awesome. That'd be amazing. I just don't know if that's going to happen. With the Patriots, I feel like we have a more realistic chance of finishing ahead of them in the wild card than we do with the division. So you root for the Patriots to lose, and I think the Patriots are going to win, but I think you root for them to lose to the Titans this week. The next game we're going to talk about today is the Broncos and the Chargers, and in my opinion, root for the Broncos to beat the Chargers. The reason why, I don't think the Broncos are going to be a threat for that final playoff spot. I think the Chargers throughout the entire year are going to be a much bigger threat. And I think they could potentially be fighting with the Colts for that final playoff spot. So, in my opinion, root for the Broncos to win now because it's going to help in the long run. Yes, I know the Broncos are behind the Colts right now, so them losing would increase that gap. But, in my opinion, if they win now, they're going to lose as the weeks go by because with the Broncos, they still have to play Kansas City twice. I think they get swept, in my opinion. So, Broncos win now doesn't mean they're going to get in the playoffs. That gap will still be there if the Colts win on Sunday. That gap will just increase in weeks after. So, in my opinion, just looking at it right now, root for the Broncos to beat the Chargers because the Chargers are just going to be a bigger threat as the year goes on. So the next and the final game I'm going to be talking about today is the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. And in my opinion, root for the Ravens to beat the Browns. The reason why is because I just don't see the Ravens losing their division. I think they're going to win it. I would be shocked if either Pittsburgh, Cleveland, or Cincinnati were able to win that division. I just don't see any chance that the Ravens end up losing that division. And also, the Browns and the Colts are currently tied. So I want a gap to begin to form between the Colts and the Browns. And the only way that's going to happen is if Baltimore beats Cleveland. So root for the Ravens this weekend and just hope they beat the Browns. That way, if the Colts end up losing to Tampa Bay, Cleveland doesn't jump the Colts. So there you guys have it. Again, I'll kind of run through who we need to root for this weekend. We need to root for the Cowboys, the Saints, us obviously, the Steelers, the Titans, the Broncos, and the Ravens to win this weekend in their matchups. If all this happens, the Colts will move to number 6 in the AFC. I like that. I like that a lot. That makes me feel more comfortable as we get to the end of the year that we're going to be able to make the playoffs. So root for all those things to happen this weekend because we'll move to number 6 and it just helps our chances in general to make the playoffs. And that's going to do it, guys. So thank you very much for watching. If you're new or if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you would click that subscribe button. Also click the bell icon. That way you're notified whenever I upload a video or go live. If you like this video, smack the like button. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments down below. I'd be curious, especially about that Titans and Patriots matchup. And also, if you have a Twitter, click the link in the description down below. That will take you to my Twitter, which is horseshoe_pod. Make sure you follow me there if you have a Twitter. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Matt, Bleed Blue, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you watch one of these other 2 videos. They're cool. Also, if you're new, please click the subscribe button as well as the bell icon. I greatly appreciate your support.